Welcome back to the How Many Pre-Orders Does Kris Have This Month game. Hello everyone, welcome back to A Fictional Escapist. My name is Kris, and today's video is the indie releases of May 2024. I always love these videos. I'm about to enter a low buy year, so these are going to hurt a lot more, and my wish list is going to expand tenfold, I reckon. I probably pre-ordered about 7 off this list, so see if you can guess at the end of the video which ones I've pre-ordered and have on my never-ending TBR. Before we jump into the list today, make sure to check in the description box down below for links to my social media and Discord should you want to come along for the ride. Quick mention as well, these lists do not come from me. As always, they come from Rob J. Hayes and his blog. So I'll have that one linked down below. If you have a book coming out for the remainder of the year, make sure you're checking out that link and putting your book on those lists so I can give it a video platform each and every month. Now we have quite a few to get through today, so we are going to jump in, and as always, if they are sequels, I will not read the blurb. I will leave it for you to go and read the blurb or look up that series, but there may be some commentary along the way because I am who I am as a person. So let's jump in. On the 1st of May, we had a series ender, the end of a trilogy. This is The End of Time by Enchanted Skies. This is their last book in the Cruel Gods series. I had this one on my radar for 2025, as in the entire series. I'm very much looking forward to it. I don't want to look at anything on that blurb in case it does give spoilers away, but this one is coming out. I know a few people who are super excited about the ending of this series, and I hope to be as well when I pick it up next year. Also out on the 1st of May, we have a Spectre in the Stream. This is by Simon Tull and is the Slip Saga book number 1. This is a sci fantasy series starter, and it says, in a world gone mad with bloodlust, can a girl with a fragmented past use her inner monster to save a boy from undying predators? Earth, post-apocalypse, Prisma longs to understand herself. 2 centuries after humanity died, the claustrophobic immortal is grateful she's not driven by the thirst for blood plaguing every other enslaved survivor. But when she encounters a strange boy with a cryptic message about her origins, she fears his existence has made them both a deadly target. As Prisma's violently protective alter ego gives her remarkable abilities, she and her curious companion track his mysterious origins through their decaying city and its virtual twin. But she's horrified to learn of a vicious truth that sends her split personality into dangerous denial when a psychotic assassin and a desperate bounty hunter close in for the kill. Can she unearth the secret that will renew their stricken planet's hope? That sounds intense, and that cover is intense as well. Also on the 1st of May, we have one I'm very much looking forward to, and that is Chaotic Aperitifs, Hidden Dishes Book 2 by Tao Wong. This is a cozy fantasy, and it is the second book it follows on from The Nameless Restaurant. These are cozy cooking fantasies, which I just never knew I needed in my life. I'm not a real cozy person. I don't tend to gravitate towards cozy, but I love cooking, and that does relax me. So these have been fantastic. I really enjoyed the first book. I'm looking forward to getting into the second novella here. Another one for the 1st of May was the Rocking Into the Night by Sean McGee, and this is the Wartime Druid book number 4, and it is an urban fantasy. I swear, these urban fantasy series, they're just long running. People love them. If someone can like say urban fantasy to you and you go, all right, well, here's a series that I love, and it's like 15 to 20 books long. I think this one is going to be much the same for we're up to book 4 already. Another one we had on the 1st of May, big day, 1st of May, was Hunt for the Magi, the Blue Guitar and the Greblax new urban fantasy, grimdark, sci fantasy, and horror. That's a really intriguing cover as well. I'll put it up here. The art style is something that I wouldn't normally gravitate towards, but there is a lot to look at in there, and the more you look at it, sort of the more details come up. It says, it's the eve of an election. America is broken and the world is on the brink. Well, that's a bit close to home. A small town shrink encounters a mysterious boy with an incredible gift. A last chance lawyer tries to hold on to love. A group of teens in a dystopian city search for the only one who can save them from their nightmares, and a beautiful but troubled sheriff's deputy finds herself pursued by the law and something much more horrifying. Together, their fates are intertwined as they become part of the hunt for the Magi. I hope I pronounced that correctly. I may not have. That sounds a bit interesting. On the 5th of May, we had one that I was grateful enough to beta read, and this is Thorns of War by Joao F. Silva, the Smokesmith's book number 2. Let me tell you, this book ramps up this world, these beasts, and this magic up a notch. If you liked the first book, Seeds of War, you're definitely going to have a good time with Thorns of War book number 2, and the cover just is amazing. Such a fun blue cover. I mean, not fun for Aperitifs, but you'll have to read that one to find out. And on the 8th of May, we had Forest of Swords. This is book number 4 in the Three Kingdom Chronicles by Baptiste Pinson Wu. And again, I hope I pronounced that one correctly, but this is a historical fantasy series, which is pretty high up on my radar. And it just says the Han Empire 200 CE. I don't really want to go too much more into that because it is a book 4, so we will be moving on. On the 11th of May, now this is why these lists get me. This book, and I'm going to preface this by saying that I looked at the cover for book 2, which is I'm about to speak about, and when I wonder what book 1 looks like, and then immediately book 1 fell into my cart, and I'm very interested in the series. This is the Sundering, or just Sundering, by R.M. Krogman, and this is the Keepers of Midgate, book number 2 in the epic fantasy realm. Now, this cover really caught my attention. There's a lot happening in here, all the stuff flying around, this person, and I just wanted to know more. So now I have book 1 on my Kindle to read at some point in my lifetime. But it is a book 2. It just says the epic story continues, and I'm not going to read any more than that for fear of spoilers. On the 14th of May, we had a release from the man himself who owns these blog posts. Fleet Champions by Rob J. Hayes came out. This is Titan Hopper's book number 3. And again, another cover that just absolutely slaps. And it goes hard. All these covers go hard and they're all fantastic. And that one is up here. I know a few people who really are enjoying this series for the progression element. This is cultivation, progression, sci-fantasy in that genre and that realm, and people are really enjoying it. I know a few people who definitely have this one on their TBRs. I think I have the first 2 books. I haven't bought this one yet, but we'll see how that goes whenever I get to it. I feel like I have so many of Mr. Hayes' books on my radar that it's a little bit ridiculous at this point. Another one that came out on the 14th of May was Thornbane and the Demon Witch by Paul Sating. This is Thornbane Trilogy and the Hex Heroes Saga book number 2, and this is epic fantasy and sword and sorcery. I had to do a double take on this cover because, again, it's just a lot. There's just a lot happening, and I thought it was a bear initially. Now it's either a dragon or a dinosaur, and there's just chaos. The first line of this says, "Death didn't kill the curse." I can see that in this cover, but we will have to move on. On the 14th of May, another one for the 14th of May, we have probably my cover pick for this particular list, and that is By Blood, by Salt, by J.L. Odom. This cover is so eye-catching, so colorful. There's, like, when they say a picture paints 1,000 words, there is a story here, and that excites me as a reader and someone who is vain and buys books for covers. This one says, Azelta has served the Marawan army for 13 years. There are 7 left to pay. A pariah and a debt soldier, he is a commander with no rank, a soldier without citizenship, and wears a sword that is unlawful for him to either own or use. He has learned to hold his tongue or risk losing everything. When Azelta's battalion is sent into the desert to catch a Sahar devil, one of the famously brutal inhabitants of the region, his tenuous position is threatened. He discovers that there is far more to this mission than catching a fiend. For the Emperor of Mara, it is a way to prove that he fears nothing, not even devils. For the Emperor's brother, it is a stepping stone to rebellion. For Azelta, it could be deadly either way, as he is cornered into choosing a side in the upcoming coup. But the devil that Azelta finds in the desert is not what anyone expects or wants. As the conspiracy against the Emperor becomes entangled with the simmering ambitions of the desert tribes, Azelta must decide if he's willing to strike a bargain with a devil in order to survive. Naturally, she is not to be trusted, but then again, neither is he. It just sounds fantastic. This one's pretty safe to say that I went ahead and pre-ordered it. So when you do your guesses, that one doesn't count because you already know I just told you that I pre-ordered it. What a day the 14th of May was, because we've got another release in the Dragon Legion by Isaac Hill. This is the Sunborn Book 1 in the epic fantasy subgenre. Broken generations ago in the cleansing, the Sunborn bloodline persists. I pronounced that wrong Probably. The Sunborn Empire's last son rises in the ranks of the Second Legion, a legion of criminals. Sent to quell the rebelling northern tribes, the last Sunborn son finds himself in a cruel world of politics, murder, and betrayal as he struggles to survive. Welcome to the Sunborn series, where empires rise, fall, and against all odds, rise again. The Dragon Legion is born. I've heard very good things about this one from people who were on the ARC team. Also, on the 14th of May, we had a new release from JDR Rizal. This is A Battle Between Blood, a Legends of Tau novella by the man himself. And again, another gorgeous cover here. I've not ventured into the Legend of Tau series. The only thing I've read by JDR Rizal has been The Last Ranger, The Titan Wilds, and I really enjoyed that. I would like to get to this series at some point, but for now, gorgeous cover novella in that series. Moving on to the 17th of May, we had Bloodfeather Heart Song by Amber L. Werner, and this is a epic fantasy romance with a bit of sword and sorcery in there, and this is a book 2 of the Blood Song series. A nice eye-catching cover there with the gold feathers, but it is a book 2, so we will need to move on. Jumping to the 20th of May, we had the Switchboard Connections book number 1 by Christina K. Glover in the urban fantasy genre, or subgenre, I should say. This cover definitely caught my attention. I can't, like, every time I see it, I can't really stop looking at it. Like, I get the phone and I, like, do the thing that old people do because I'm now old, where I have to, like, expand it. How do you expand it like that? I don't know. I do it like this because I am old. Like I said, this one says, for magic, for memory, for each other. Mortal mage Henley Yu has enough to worry about between the storms caused by broken magic and his strained relationship with his father. He's trying to keep his head above water, but when he finds a stranger hiding in his kitchen cabinets, he's forced to reconsider his priorities. Chief Operator Kittinger has overseen the flow of magic for centuries, but he's no fighter. Betrayed by his protectors in their quest to gain control of the magic, he's running for his life when he makes Henley his accomplice. Kit might lose his new ally if Henley finds out that Kit's secret goes deeper than the magic itself. Together they'll venture into the Between, where magic connects worlds, to fight an army of officers ready to finish what they started when Kit fled the scene. For Kit, failure means death. For Henley, it means losing the memory of the only person who gives him purpose. Henley won't let anyone interfere before he finds out what that means for their future. He'll save Kit, he'll save the magic, or he won't be the only one who dies trying. That sounds like a lot of fun. On the 21st of May, and a book that I'm really excited is seeing the light of day and being released out there, because I read this a very long time ago before it went through edits. So I think it was a beta for this particular book, and my wife also had a hand in the editing process. So it is one that's very near and dear to me, and this is The Way of the Wizard by Michael Michel. This is an epic fantasy with an epic cover. This one says, even gods have their beginnings. Mine starts in the chasm between worlds, in the blink of eternity between life and death. If you wish to follow, let this be your road. First, join your brethren, those others who seek the power. They are your allies and the key to your success. They will almost certainly try to kill you. Second, slay a wizard and claim their top knot. Be smart, be quick, and never hesitate. They are the most dangerous creatures alive. If destiny does not favor you, your bones will be added to the piles beneath their feet. Third, acquire the hidden location of the spirit gardens. Secrets are worth more than kingdoms. Protect them at all costs, or your enemies will win and you will die. But above all, never look back. Godhood is the goal. If you have the courage and ambition to do so, read on. Your path to power awaits. It sounds really cool. I've not read this one in a long time. I'm very much looking forward to rereading it again to see how much it's changed in that process from beta through to the end result, because the Price of Power really shocked me with how good that was from beta stages to final product. So hopefully Michael hits this one home. Again, on the 21st of May, we had In Midnight Shadow by C.M. DeBell. This is the Tales of a Seer, book number 2 in the grimdark epic fantasy subgenres. This cover is amazing. I really like the first cover. I like there's a second color in this one. So I believe the first cover was blue, like blue and white with the grays. And now we've got that pop of red in there as well. And I think that's a really nice addition to this, but it is a book 2. So we'll jump in to the 24th of May. 24th of May had Memories of Forgotten Ways by Niranjan K, not a stranger to this list at all. This one is epic fantasy slash romance. He can choose to forgive, but can he ever trust again? Eredin is the prince of the Mer people, and his people are being taken by a group called the Brotherhood of Mages. And not just his people, the mages are capturing magical creatures of all kinds, enslaving them and using their magic for their unknown and nefarious purposes. When Adarin is almost captured by them and is rescued by a human mage called Elwood, he finds himself falling for his rescuer. Just as Eredin whispers his words of love, he is captured by Elwood, who enslaves him. Eredin struggles to understand his newfound status and Elwood's goals. Even as other magical creatures are enslaved by Elwood, who uses their powers to defeat and destroy the mages of the Brotherhood, Eredin is unable to hate the man. When Elwood changes magic itself, freeing all the magical creatures and making it impossible for them to be enslaved again, nearly dying in the process, Eredin decides to heal and forgive him. But can he trust Elwood ever again? And does Elwood even want his love? Also on the 24th of May, we had Enchanted Skies. This is an anthology. This is called the Enchanted series by Book 4. It's a YA anthology, and it has a multitude of authors in here. Personally, I'm coming around to the anthology as just a bunch of short stories. I used to be a bit of a short story snob, but since I've been reading some horror short story collections and just needing to scratch that itch of making sure I'm completing things, the short story collection has me enchanted. This one says high-flying adventure, magical mayhem, and new horizons are in the air. Take to the stormy skies and the backs of dragons or on ancient thunderbirds. In this clean fantasy anthology, you'll soar into fantastic realms and meet creatures drawn from myth and legend. A hippogriff, Pegasus, harpies, and so much more. Then on the 28th of May, we have Soul Cage by L.R. Schultz. I was a beta for this one. It is fantastic. It is definitely Luke's strongest work to date, and the magic is just hardcore. This is grimdark, epic fantasy with a bit of sword of sorcery thrown in there, and it's full of magic. Murder breeds magic. All power comes with a price. In a world where the magic is transferred by the act of killing another, Mirrodin stands above the rest, having accidentally killed the most powerful mage in all of existence. Midrin now lives a peaceful life in isolation, but there is no such thing as peace in the land of Ator. War calls. The voice of the dead haunt him, and there is nowhere to hide. Cursed with the deathly taint of magic, young Will must seek acceptance among the Knights of Aeon. There he must learn to touch the other side, control his abilities, and decide for himself what is right and what is wrong. Tavora's soul is broken. The price of vengeance was her sanity. Her companions help keep a tenuous grasp on herself. But with the urgent needs to absorb enough magic to sustain them, she is pushed to choose a side in the upcoming war. The question remains, will she choose the right one? This was just crazy. This was a crazy book, crazy good, crazy dark. Go ahead, pick it up. I definitely think it is worth your time. On the 29th of May, we have A Memory of Song by Scott Palmer. This is the first verse of the last ballad, and that is a delightful series name. This one says, in a dying land, the armies of the dead hold sway, and those who rule them are more god than human. James Culdain is the last heir of the Northern Throne, was just a young man when the armies of the South murdered his parents and subjugated his lands. He has never forgotten those responsible, nor has he forgiven. He has spent the last 10 years living in isolation with the Fedara, a sacred northern clan of fierce warriors led by the fearless Wolfie, who, still reeling from the loss of her own children, finds new meaning in protecting what only family she has left. Now, an ancient order of warlocks has returned to the north, singing dark songs comprised of blood magic that null the elements and threaten all that is living. With nature depleted and the southern armies returning to the north, James struggles to embrace the unique power he has long tried to repress, the ability to commune with the spirits of the dead. In the bitter heart of a growing war, and with the world dying around them, James and Wolfie desperately seek answers, vengeance, and a way to save the ones they love no matter the cost. Fires refuse to burn, the skies are thirsty and breathless, the earth won't eat its rot. Welcome to Ardua. That sounds fantastic. I also love those little snippets at the end where you go, welcome to somewhere. We go, yes, thank you for welcoming me. I am in. This land sounds terrible, but I'm in nonetheless. That was very, very exciting, and I'm interested in that one. On the 30th of May, we have A Melody of Death by C.E. Page, another author I desperately need to get to. This is the Isles of Bright and Shadow, book number 2 in the second series. I need to read the first series. I have all 3 books of the first series on my Kindle. I'm pretty sure I had the first book of this series on my Kindle, but it is a book too, so we'll need to move on from there. Again, cover, absolutely stunning. All of CE Page's covers, absolutely stunning. Then on the 30th of May, or still on the 30th of May, we have Dark City Rising by C.L. Jarvis. This is an Edinburgh Doctrines story. I don't know whether it's within the series that I currently have on my shelves behind me. I think it may be just a story set in this world. It says he wanted to fix the archaic medical education system. He ended up changing the world. Scotland, 1748. Professor William Cullen has a secret. He's developing a new egalitarian system of magic. If Scotland's aristocrats learn, he threatens their stronghold of power, upheld through dark magical means, and buy-in from the Edinburgh's illustrious medical school, he's dead. When a noble is murdered for daring to champion Cullen, he realizes confrontation is inevitable and he must take his fight to the enemy. Aided by his prestigious former student Joseph Black, Cullen must navigate a hostile academic system, locating the source of the aristocrat's power before his secret abilities are uncovered and the assassins return for him. Got a bit of a murder mystery in there, a bit of historical fantasy. These are real people that were in the 18th century that these stories are based around, which I think is super cool for this particular series. I really like the Doctrines of Fire, which also centered around the professor and also Joseph Black as his student. So looking forward to getting to that one. And to finish up, we have another one that I've baited. This is Die Young by Morgan Shank. This is a big, epic, chonky, grimdark fantasy that people are going to want to sink their teeth into. Megan Dross graduated his mage school, the Tower, with flying colours. Then his old schoolmaster burned his runebook and stole his magic. Now the Tower wants him dead. To spare himself, his family, and his people from danger, Megan must find help and answers. His country is on the brink of war, and a school of rogue mages could topple everything. Powerless and on the run, he'll find help through his childhood friend, his estranged sister, a tribal exile, a violent priest, and the daughter of King Terras, Freytilia's most hated man. This makes for a precarious alliance, but it must hold. The Tower's pursuit spreads collateral damage, and as war approaches, it grows apparent that if the Tower isn't stopped, every country will fall. This is a really fun beta read. I love that Morgan Shank is sinking his teeth into a grimdark epic fantasy. This proves to be quite the series. Those are the indie releases coming our way. May, or some of them have already come our way in May 2024, because by the time this goes out, it's probably going to be like the 25th. But these are all the books you can go ahead and go and buy, and potentially pre-order if you want some for the end of the month. So go ahead and pick some up. Let me know what you're picking up from this list in the comments down below. If you like this content, give one of those. If you want to see more of it, click subscribe at your will, and I will catch you in the next video. Ciao.